Welcome! You're tuned into Tangled Threads. If you're digging our content, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. Now for today's Tangled Thread. I'm losing my mind as I witness my dear wife miscommunicate her way into absolute oblivion. Hey Reddit! I had to share this hilariously maddening episode from last week because, let's face it, we all need a good laugh or cry every now and then. A bit of background. My wife Clara is a gem, truly. She's got a heart of gold, but sometimes her communication skills are, well, you'll see. And Jamie? He's your typical 13-year-old, navigating middle school and the all-important decision of what to eat for lunch. Now, when these two forces combine, let's just say it can make for some interesting conversation. So here we go. As I sat down on our worn-out couch nursing a cold drink after a particularly tiresome day, I glanced over to see my wife, Clara, deep in focus. I'd recognize that expression anywhere. It was the look she had when attempting to untangle a particularly pesky email thread. A feeling of foreboding settled in. "What's got you ruffled now?" I asked, venturing into the potentially chaotic waters of Clara's correspondence world. She sighed, pushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "Just trying to figure out Jamie's lunch menu for this month with the school office, but I swear it's like I'm talking in riddles with them." I reached over, taking a moment to review the conversation. "Clara, hello, what's Jamie having for lunch this month? Just want to be prepared." Middle school office. "Oh, we have a variety of dishes lined up. Tacos, spaghetti, and so much more. It's going to be a treat." Clara. "That's great, but just so you know, Jamie doesn't really like the Salisbury steak. Can he have an alternative on those days?" Middle school office. "Understood. We're only serving Salisbury steak twice this month. Maybe Jamie could pack lunch on those days?" Clara. "All right, I'll keep that in mind. By the way, any other items he might not like?" Middle school office. "Well, there might be a few, but generally we have received positive feedback about our lunches. You know kids, always something they don't like. It read like a dance of miscommunication where both parties were on different rhythms. The obvious answer, the menu, was right there in the shadows, never once being directly acknowledged. In a mixture of awe and frustration, I rubbed my temples. "Clara, why not just ask for a copy of the menu? That would solve everything." I chuckled, not out of humor but the sheer absurdity of it all. "And they probably think you already have a copy, and are just discussing specifics." She turned to me, her eyes filled with genuine puzzlement, as if I'd just introduced an entirely new concept. I thought I was being clear. Taking a deep breath, I reached out and gently held her hand. "Okay, let's take a step back. Imagine you're at a store. You want to buy a specific dress, but instead of asking the shop assistant directly about that dress, you ask about all the dresses they have, and if they have them in blue, and if they go with certain shoes. It's like you're dancing around what you really want. Can you see how that might be confusing for the person trying to help?" Her face scrunched in concentration. "So I'm making it more difficult by not being direct?" "Exactly," I said with a nod. In communication, especially in writing where tone and nonverbal cues are absent, it's crucial to be specific. Instead of asking what Jamie might be eating, simply request the menu. It's a straightforward ask, and it reduces room for misunderstanding. She tilted her head slightly, absorbing the information. "But I thought by discussing it they'd just... No?" I squeezed her hand reassuringly. "I understand where you're coming from, sweetheart, but sometimes it's essential to state what seems obvious to us. People aren't mind readers. It's always better to ask directly for what you want rather than hoping the other party might guess or understand implicitly." She frowned, a hint of frustration creeping into her tone. "It just seems so unnecessary to spell everything out." I leaned in, looking deep into her eyes. "Clara, remember when we assembled that IKEA cabinet, and we missed a step because we assumed we knew it, and then had to redo the entire thing? Email works in a similar way. If you miss a step or assume too much, you may not get the outcome you want." She sighed, running her fingers through her hair, her frustration evident. "It's just hard. It feels so robotic to ask directly." I cupped her cheek gently. "I know, and it's not about changing who you are. It's just about understanding the rules of the game so you can play it better. I promise, with a bit of practice, it'll come naturally." She met my gaze, determination simmering in her eyes. "All right, let's try to get this right then." "Perfect. Now think about what you want and frame that in a simple question." She looked me directly in the eyes, full of love, devotion, and unmatched sweetness, and then asked me, "So what should I say exactly?" Taking a deep breath and then leaning in and kissing her on the forehead, I said, "Let me handle this." Dialing the school, the ever-relaxed voice of Principal Saunders greeted me. "Ah, Mr. Jensen, how can I assist you today?" "Mr. Saunders, I'd love to get a straightforward answer here. Can you send us a copy of this month's lunch menu? There seems to have been a minor miscommunication." He laughed. "Of course, you'll have it in a moment. Sometimes we all just dance around the direct answer, don't we?" Before I could even hang up, a notification pinged. There it was, the lunch menu, clear as day. Handing the phone back to Clara, I sighed. "Got it. Next time, let's try the direct route, yeah?" She smiled sheepishly. "Of course. Thanks for always having my back." Embracing her, I thought about how sometimes the most straightforward answers remain elusive. It's a quirk of human nature, but it's these quirks that keep life entertaining. Remembering that loving her meant loving all of her, even the slightly exasperating bits, I chuckled. I always will. Now let's see what Jamie won't be eating this month. As Clara and I were just about to finally exhale, having seemingly made a breakthrough, the front door burst open, and in walked Jamie, our 13-year-old whirlwind of energy. Clara's eyes sparkled with newfound confidence. "Hey, kiddo, let's discuss next month's school lunch menu. Now, Jamie, there are days when you might not want the school's food. On those days, you can pack lunch. So, tell me, are there any particular days you'd want to pack?" Jamie's eyebrows furrowed, trying to decipher his mother's question. I guess if they have tuna sandwiches, I'd rather not eat those." Clara, somehow taking a quantum leap from that statement, said, "So you want sandwiches every day?" "No, just not the tuna ones," Jamie countered, a hint of exasperation in his voice. "Okay, so sandwiches on all days but the tuna ones?" Clara tried to clarify. My internal voice was about 2 decibels away from a scream. The mental gymnastics I had to perform to follow their conversation made the school email debacle seem like child's play. It was like watching 2 completely synchronized dancers, except they were both dancing to entirely different songs. The mental tug-of-war was extraordinary, and my brain felt like it was being stretched in all the wrong ways. Jamie, trying to piece it together, nodded hesitantly. "Yeah, but wait, what if they have pizza?" Clara, her face showing pure concentration, replied, "Well, I can make you pizza for those days." "But I want the school pizza." Jamie's voice took on a note of desperation. This was a cacophony of miscommunication that would rival the most confusing of opera plots. Inside my head, a tiny, initially calm version of me remarked, "Well, this isn't going quite as smoothly as one might hope." But then, as Clara and Jamie continued their conversational dance of utter confusion, that internal voice grew a bit more impatient. "It's just a lunch menu, for heaven's sake. How hard could it be?" I muttered to myself. But the more they talked, the louder and more irate that voice became. Are they speaking in some kind of code only decipherable by aliens? Maybe I missed a memo. As Jamie bounced between wanting and not wanting school pizza, and Clara's responses continuing to miss the mark, the exasperation inside me built like a pressure cooker. Holy hell! I've witnessed more coherent discussions between toddlers debating the existence of cooties. By this point, my inner self was bordering on hysteria. The words were forming a tempestuous storm inside, the wind howling. "It's a menu, not the Da Vinci Code. Good Lord Almighty, if I hear one more thing about a goddamn bloody sandwich." And then, in a glorious crescendo of internalized fury, it screamed, "Is this really my family? Are they both absolutely this bonkers? It's lunch, not a UN negotiation. Just pick a damn sandwich and move on." Despite the roiling storm within, on the outside, I was the picture of patience. Though I imagined if one looked closely, they'd see a vein twitching perilously on my forehead. Taking a deep, steadying breath, I interjected, "Okay, let's simplify this. Jamie, we have the menu here." I gestured to the phone with the emailed menu. "Let's just go through it day by day." Jamie's eyes lit up with understanding. "Oh, that's way easier." Clara looked a tad embarrassed but nodded in agreement. Together, the 3 of us navigated the menu, ensuring Jamie would be satiated for the month. Each day was checked off, lunch decisions made, with minimal room for ambiguity. Finally, my insides calmed down, and I told my wife that I would be in my office for a few minutes, and that after that we could get ready for supper. She asked Jamie and I what we wanted for supper. I said that we should make ribeye steaks on the charcoal grill, pre-seasoned with pink Himalayan salt, black pepper, and Tony Chacher's original Creole seasoning and cooked medium well. Then I asked her what she wanted for sides. Well, that was an abrupt ending, but that was freaking hilarious. I, for one, can empathize on a very direct level with him. When I read this story, I knew I had to share it with you all. Have you ever had to deal with this from your spouse or any of your loved ones? Have you ever stood back and watched two people talking to each other, obviously not understanding each other and getting frustrated with each other over simple communication issues? God knows I have. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.